Anomaly from Sweden, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing my own personal, unpopular opinions about CS and skins. Prepare to get triggered, because maybe my opinions are a little too unpopular. However, before I delve into my opinions, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, which is Skinport. Skinport is a trusted CS2 marketplace where you can buy and sell your CS2 skins safely for real money, like credit card, bank transfer, or now even PayPal. On Skinport, there's no fee for buying, so say you want to buy a Bayonet Tiger Tooth, on Skinport it's listed right now for 480 euro, while on Steam it's 728 euro. That is a huge difference. They have over 2.5 million skins listed, and they lowered their sales fee to just 8%, with payouts being sent in your local currency, with many countries supported. So if you're buying or selling skins, then check out Skinport from the link in the description, and now let's get back to the video. Now, starting off with the first unpopular opinion, it's the fact that factory new gloves, even though they are very expensive, are definitely worth it. Sure, for some skins like the Queen Jaguar, these are minimal wear, the difference isn't that big. You can see here there's some scratches on the left knuckle, small scratches on the fingertips. These are the factory new ones. You can see, you can barely see a difference. So in this case, yeah, factory new probably aren't worth the price increase, but looking at something like the Vice gloves, even though yes, it is way more expensive, it's definitely worth it. You can see on the fingers there's a lot of scratches. I don't even have to zoom in to show. Look at the knuckle, it's basically gone. Even this middle knuckle, it's not great. And these are the factory new ones. When I switch between them, you can see there's actually a noticeable difference. So yeah, I would say sometimes, actually quite often, factory new gloves are worth it, even though they are way more expensive. Next, old skins are much better than new ones, I'm not gonna lie. With the old skins, we had stuff like the Op Lightning Strike, which is very simple, yes, but it is so beautiful, because back when these were released, like, having any sort of color was just really hype, and you wouldn't get it unless you had an expensive, cool, rare skin. And just with the newer cases and skin collections, it's just too easy to get skins that look very unique. But these new skins that look unique, like maybe the Deagle Heat Treated, they're not actually that unique, because there's 10, 20, 30, 40 of these Deagle Heat Treated patterns that are basically fully blue like this one. They're not rare at all. And then you just go back to, for example, the AK Case Hardened, which just has a handful of patterns where the top is fully blue and the back and the play side as well. These were very rare, and the new skins, they just don't have that same aura. Next up, this one might be pretty unpopular. Butterflies are hella overrated. Yeah, they're the most expensive, but that's about it. It's just these like Valorant ADHD kids who loves doing this with them. It's a super thin knife. You see, even the handle, it's very thin. Compare it to, for example, the Giga Chad big fat manly M9 bayonet. Yeah, it doesn't have that crazy ADHD animation, but the knife itself is much cooler. I think a lot of people only like the butterflies because they are expensive and hype. Which leads me to my next unpopular opinion. Way too many people in CS just care about value and the price of a skin. They don't actually care what the skin looks like. For example, let's say the P250 See Ya Later. It's a pretty basic skin. I don't really like the way it looks, but still, there's a lot of people that use it because it's red and wow, it's rare, expensive. Meanwhile, for example, the P250 Vino Primo, which is in my opinion a much better looking skin, is still very cheap, and people don't know about it. They don't even use it because it's just a purple skin, right? It doesn't have that hype of a red skin. Next, black pearls are shit. I'm not gonna lie. I have a Nomad black pearl right here. It's very underwhelming. This is in the code the rarest finish to have on a knife, but it is so incredibly underwhelming. Compare this one to something like a ruby, which is very distinctly different and unique because it's fully red. Well, they could have made the black pearl way more purple and have it stand out that way, but they didn't. In my opinion, black pearl, it's very boring and not really worth the money. Next up, sticker crafts. They are basically never worth doing yourself. That's because, say I wanted to make something like this, it's gonna cost cost me a lot of money to get all of these 4 stickers, then I place them on the AK, and then if I eventually want to sell my AK, well, the price is gonna be a lot lower because you're not getting back the individual price of each of the stickers, so it's just not worth doing. Next, skins are not only cool because they are expensive, there's also a lot of skins that are very cool just because they're so rare, but people just don't care about them. Such as, for example, MP7 Whiteout, which is float capped and extremely rare in factory new. That is a very cool skin, a lot cooler than most knives and gloves, but people just don't care. Next unpopular opinion, this one might trigger a lot of people. I think trading skins and skins in general is more fun than playing the game. And it's not only that you can profit from trading, no, it's just way more fun to do skins, find rare ones, make deals with people, and just getting those rare skins in your inventory, as opposed to just playing Premiere for no reason for a medal and just you queue into a ton of cheaters. It's not super fun, I'm not gonna lie. Next unpopular opinion about charms. I think they're underrated, but many people don't give a fuck. Yeah, of course, a lot of the charms deserve to be cheap because they're not that cool, they don't add that much, but some of them, pattern-based, are very, very, very rare, and if people actually want to collect rare things, charms should be on your radar. For example, I have this big Kev with the pattern 99999, which is the highest you can get. The chance of getting this one is very rare. Having a 1 in 100,000 chance of being 99999. That's incredibly rare, but it's still only like $200. And that's not even the craziest thing. There's a lot of these charms, which, for example, Teacup, which is a purple, is also 99999, which makes it even so much rarer because it's a purple. And finally, the ultra rare things, which I've never seen anyone else have, is red charms with the maxed out patterns like this Hot Howl or the Baby Carrot CT with pattern 99999. Like, these are so incredibly rare, but people don't give a fuck. Another unpopular opinion I have is that stat track knives are way cooler than non-stat track knives. And this is an actual very unpopular opinion. Some people might think, oh, there's a scratch on my knife, I don't like that, ew. When in reality, the stat track knives are so much better because, first of all, they're cheaper than the normal non-stat track ones. Second of all, the stat track knife is 10 times rarer than the non-stat track one, which is cool. And thirdly, the stat track counter has a function. It can track how many knife kills you have. That's something a normal knife cannot do. Next is, if you're gonna buy a skin because of the way it looks, then you should probably buy a souvenir version because most of the time they're way cheaper. For example, I have a Scout Deathstrike field tested. Now this one in non-souvenir is gonna cost you about $500. However, in souvenir, it's just $60, and they look exactly the same. The only difference is the souvenir has these stickers, which, ho-ho, you can scrape, and it looks completely normal. The only difference is it's gonna read souvenir in your inventory. Is that worth almost $450 for you in the difference? No. Next up, I'm gonna get a lot of hate from collectors on this, but genuine pins in CS are fucking retarded. I have 2 pins in my inventory now that are the Bloodhound pin. Now, what is the big difference? The Bloodhound pin that I just bought, it's about €7 and it's tradable. If I want to sell it, I can do it and get my money back. However, the genuine pin, it's not tradable. The normal Bloodhound pin you just get from a pin capsule, which you can buy from the store for €8. And the genuine ones are discontinued, and they used to come in these like little patch packs or whatever that you could buy or get from the majors, and then inside of them would be a real life pin. Don't ask me why one is missing, I don't know. And then you would also get a code, and then you scratch the code, you put it into CS, and then you get a genuine pin in your inventory. But it's so stupid because, first of all, these are so expensive, and the thing is, you can't even sell them. They're forever bound to your account. And the only thing that sets them apart is the fact that one is named genuine and it has a green color compared to the normal pin, which is just normal and has a white border. Is that worth an incredible amount of money? Fuck no, don't get genuine pins. Next unpopular opinion, Valve, they're actually pretty smart when it comes to CS. Yes, we're always saying, oh, you guys should add more content, more game modes, more maps, but then if they did that, there would be so many maps and skins and game modes and everything that it would kind of water down the game. The fact that Valve has been slowly releasing this content has probably made the game what it is now, and if they just spam the updates, it wouldn't actually be good for the game. Another unpopular opinion, the service medal, which everyone struggles to get every year in a cool color, completely useless. It just kind of shows you that you have no life. Next unpopular opinion, owning skins in CS isn't actually smart at all. That's because you don't own the skins, Valve owns the skins. If you own the skins, Valve couldn't put a trade restriction, a trade hold, or trade protection on your skins. If you actually owned it, then you would be in charge of all of that, but you're not, because Valve owns every single skin and they decide what happens to it and what the parameters of how you can trade them or sell them are. But that's one thing that I think is cool about NFTs. You actually own them. They're in your complete possession, unlike the CS skins, which are still in Valve's possession. Next opinion, which is kind of unpopular. I know at least like half of the people don't agree with me. A knife is far less important than a pair of gloves. That's because the gloves you always have. If you're holding an M4, an AWP, your knife, you always see your gloves. However, a knife you only see in-game when it's safe to rotate between sites, or you're running, or perhaps in knife round, or maybe in spawn when you're buying stuff. Other than that, when you're actually playing, you don't see the knife. If you're wondering if you should buy a knife or gloves, go for gloves. You're gonna enjoy them a lot more. Another unpopular opinion, watching CS events and majors, it's much better to do it from home than to go to the event. It's very cramped in the arena, there's not much things to do, it's usually warm and not good AC, and everything is just extremely expensive in the arena, and that's not even counting the fact that you might need to get a hotel or a flight. And we haven't even started watching the games, because when you do the audio in the arena, it's pretty shit, and in the arena, you're still watching a screen. What's the difference from watching it in your house? I don't understand. Legit, the only difference is you can see the pros sitting on the stage, and that's about it. Is that worth all that money? No, I don't think so. Next opinion, I hate color changing skins. For example, the AK Nightwish, you can see it goes from like purple to blue to purple again, depending on how you hold it in game. Another good example is the Mac 10 Discotheque, which you can also see it's changing colors a lot. Is this cool? I mean, I guess kinda. It's like a holographic Pokemon card. Wow. But I don't think it belongs in CS, because you go from a normal looking skin into something that's kind of animated, changing into colors. The next step, it's just to animate them further. And then eventually, we're gonna end up with skins like in Valorant, where you're holding a fucking dragon, finger in the asshole, and you're shooting enemies. We don't need that in CS. And my final unpopular opinion for this video is about the majors, and it's completely unnecessary for most people to buy the major viewer pass for the coin. Because first of all, the coin, you're probably gonna get it in silver or gold. It's not really a flex, because you can't do anything with it. You can only display it in game. So what do you actually get from the viewer pass? Well, the coin, you get to do your pick'ems, which you can just pretend yourself to do. This adds nothing really. And you get a few tokens if you get correct picks for souvenir packages. More likely than not, they're not gonna repay the major pass. So it's literally just a loss. It's not worth it. Thank you guys for watching this video about my unpopular opinions in CS. Maybe you agreed with some of my points. Maybe you completely disagreed on all my points. I don't know. I just hope you enjoyed the video. And now...